the NEC recognized that the need for more meetings so that we can have a national convention that is seamless and that has a kind of a buy-in of all segments of the party and members across the country. At that meeting, you recall that the NEC unanimously at the 99th meeting scheduled and approved the 30th of June for the next NEC meeting, which is about a week from now. And consistent with our plans, acts together, we needed to brief you to know where we are, what we are doing, and the fact that that 100th meeting, which is coming on the 30th of June, duly and unanimously convened by the NEC. So, and of course, there was a communique read at the end of that meeting by the chairman of the party conveying this resolution. You recall at that meeting that two other critical decisions were taken. One, the constitution of the main officers of the zoning committee and of course the convention committee. And the NWC was directed to begin in consultation with various organs of the party and stakeholders and interests to ensure that the population of those committees are conducted or ensured. And that has continued. That is ongoing. And the committees from my feelers, they've done exceedingly well in that process, and that's ongoing. So the 100th meeting is to have a review of these processes. And so our members, the members of the National Executive Committees, are ready, and they're preparing from the feelers we're getting that they are ready to participate actively at the next National Executive Committee meeting, which has been scheduled by the NEC for the 30th of June. Now, I think some certain thing needs to be put in perspective, that there are statutory meetings by the constitution of this party. Because, like I always said, we don't have a perfect document, but the PDP concern is almost near perfect in the sense that it makes provision for all of this. And I will share some of this with you so that the public will be aware, our members will be well informed about what it is. There are two major bodies in the party, the NWC and the NEC, that are required under the constitution to have statutory meetings. Under section 29, subsection 3 of the constitution of the party, I just want to bring you up to speed to this so that you have a background of our understanding of how we operate as a party. The National Working Committee, under section 29.3, is expected to meet at least twice a month, every fortnight. That's a statutory meeting, because they are the managers of the party. Then section 36, section 34, subsection 4, talks about the National Executive Committee meeting. And it talks about, and I will read that for clarity. The National Executive Committee shall meet at least once every quarter at the instance of the national chairman or at the request of 2/3 of his members, who shall notify the chairman at least 7 days prior to this meeting. And an emergency meeting may be summoned by the national chairman and have regards to all of the circumstances of the agenda. So you can see these two bodies. They have statutory roles and period to hold meetings. One, the NWC as managers would have their affairs, and then they submit those reports and affairs to the NEC. One is like a board, it's like a company. You have management of the company. You have board of governors. So what you do quarterly is to show your reports, and then they can direct or guide as appropriate, having the overall picture of what the company is doing. So the party is like that. You have the National Working Committee as managers. We have the NEC as like the board of governors or board of directors to which you submit reports and your activities, and they review that, and they can give directives. And if there's need, you convene an emergency meeting, depending on the circumstances. So it is in the light of that the 100 meeting of NEC that has been convened and duly conveyed by the 99 NEC meeting was summoned, such as to receive reports and to ensure that the decisions of the 99 meeting can be reviewed in view of the fact that we're getting ready for our national convention. So it is on the basis of that happened. And at that meeting, by a motion moved by the governor of Oyo State, seconded by the minority leader in the Senate, Senator Abamoro, it was approved that the 100 meeting should take place. And then there was a further direction that INEC should be informed by way of courtesy. It must be clear that INEC has no role whatsoever in participating in regular meetings of these bodies that I've drawn to you. They have no role at all. And it must be clear to the whole world so that if there are issues that have become, I'll come presently to the issues that I've been reading in the last 1 week. And then you can see some of the distressing body thing coming from INEC, which of course is very unfortunate, but we'll go into that. But I haven't established this background. The background is that these two meetings, as provided in the constitution for the bodies, INEC has no role. However, there's an exception. And those are the issues that the Supreme Court has said they are internal affairs of the party. To the extent that when we're holding NWC meeting, we don't tell INEC. When we're holding the regular NEC meetings, we don't tell INEC. Except as provided for in the Electoral Act. And the only time that you need to give a 21 days notice to INEC is as provided in the Electoral Act, as well as the guideline of INEC. INEC should have a relationship with this because they manage, but they don't direct parties when it comes to their internal affairs. Because the courts have been so clear in plethora of cases, several cases, that the courts have no jurisdiction in the internal affairs of the party. One of such is convening regular meetings, which is NWC meeting, National Executive Committee meetings. So, but there are exceptions. And the exception is this: because we must make report to INEC if we have a convention that is elective, if we have congresses that is elective, if we have primaries where somebody will emerge as a candidate. Because we have to make report to INEC, we are duty bound under the law and the regulation of INEC to request and say we're giving you 21 days notice. The letter informing INEC must so state it. And so, in those situations, then you are bound by law to give INEC 21 days notice. Now, it takes me to what has been happening lately. Now, pursuant to the directive of the NEC at the 99 meeting, and in any event, just for clarity, this is the attendance register for members that attended the 99 meeting, where it was unanimously, it wasn't even two-thirds, it was unanimously agreed that the 100 meeting should take place on the 30th, duly proposed, resolution moved and seconded and approved unanimously. Based on that directive, that INEC, that the chairman, acting national chairman of the party should inform INEC. The party on the 30th of May, please take note of these timelines. On the 30th of May, the party wrote to INEC, and I'll read it for clarity. I know a lot of you have it, but again, for purposes of this conversation, I think for the emphasis, we need to draw attention to it so that the public will know, you will know, party members will know that this party has been doing everything in accordance with the law, in accordance with its constitution, in accordance with the practice and convention. And this is the letter received by INEC on 30th of May. That's it, the receipt of INEC. And I'll read it, I create your indulgence to read it. Notice of, hear this, notice of 100th National Executive Committee meeting of the People's Democratic Party. That's the heading. Signed by the acting national chairman. It says, we write to formally inform and invite the INEC that the leadership of our great party, the People's Democratic Party, has scheduled our 100th National Executive Committee meeting to hold on Monday, June 30th, 2025, at the National Secretariat of our party, Wadata Plaza, Use Zone 5, Abuja. This is for the Commission's information and necessary actions, please. While thanking you for your usual cooperation, kindly acknowledge receipt of this letter and please accept the assurances of our highest regard. 30th of May, received that same day. Now, INEC replied to this letter. Reckon that the background I said before, that they have no business at those statutory meetings of the party, except for a meeting that is called for an election of officers, for issues that relates to mergers and arrangement with another party or fusion of parties, and 3, when you are providing or producing your candidates for elections. Those are 3 areas when you must give 21 days. And the reason is this, because INEC will ultimately have to deal with the outcome of those meetings. They need to get a register of political parties